The warning came at midnight, Galactic Standard Time. Every species in the collective received the same message, broadcast across 1,000 worlds. Kela Prime was dying. The ancient star, home to 7 inhabited planets and the economic center of the entire sector, had begun to collapse. Scientists from the oldest civilizations gathered in emergency councils, their faces grim with the knowledge that they could do nothing. Commander Dex of the Valori fleet stood on the bridge of his warship, watching the data stream across his display. His people had conquered half a galaxy. They had built empires that spanned centuries. But against a dying star, all their weapons meant nothing. The collapse would create a supernova within 3 weeks. 7 billion lives would be lost. "There must be something," said High Priest Valen of the Cathori, his ancient robes flowing as he paced the council chamber. "Our ancestors survived the Great Void. Surely we can stop one star from burning out." "With respect, High Priest," said Chief Scientist Morn, "this is not something we can pray away. The star's core has become unstable. It is converting its remaining hydrogen at 10,000 times the normal rate. In 21 days, it will explode with enough force to sterilize every planet in the system." The council fell into despair. Evacuation plans were drawn up, but everyone knew the truth. There were not enough ships in the entire collective to save even half the population. Families would be separated. Elderly would be left behind. Children would watch their parents disappear into the flames of a dying sun. It was during the 3rd emergency meeting that the humans arrived. Their ship was small, almost embarrassingly so compared to the massive vessels of the collective. It landed in the council's docking bay with a soft thump, its hull scratched and worn from years of exploration. The airlock opened, and out stepped Dr. James Okonkwo, senior astrophysicist of Earth's United Space Agency. He was an older man, his dark skin marked with the wrinkles of someone who had spent too many nights staring at stars. Behind him came his team, Dr. Lin Wei, a small woman with sharp eyes and a portable computer that never left her hands, and Dr. Yusuf Hassan, a tall man carrying what looked like a toolbox. "Forgive our late arrival," Dr. Okonkwo said, bowing slightly to the council. "We came as soon as we received your distress signal." Commander Dex looked at the humans with barely hidden contempt. The species had only achieved faster-than-light travel 40 years ago. They were children in the eyes of the collective, still playing with basic technology while the elder races discussed matters of galactic importance. "This council is dealing with a stellar crisis," Dex said. "What could humans possibly offer?" Dr. Okonkwo smiled, a patient expression that seemed out of place given the circumstances. "We have been studying Kela Prime for the past 3 days. Dr. Lin has developed a theory about what is causing the instability." Chief Scientist Morn leaned forward. "We have teams that have studied stellar physics for thousands of years. What could your people possibly understand that we do not?" Dr. Lin stepped forward, projecting data from her device into the air above the council table. "The collapse is not natural. Something is wrong with the star's magnetic field. It has been twisted into a configuration that is accelerating the fusion process." "Impossible," Morn said. "Magnetic fields cannot cause stellar collapse." "They can, if they are strong enough," Dr. Lin replied. "And if they are arranged in a very specific pattern. Look here." She pointed to a section of the data. "The field lines are not random. They form a spiral that reaches deep into the core. Someone did this on purpose." The council erupted into chaos. Accusations flew between species. The Valori blamed the Cathori. The Cathori blamed the traitors of the Outer Rim. Everyone suspected everyone else. Dr. Okonkwo raised his hand for silence. "It does not matter who did this. What matters is that if we understand the cause, we can find a cure. And you humans have such a cure." High Priest Valen asked, his voice skeptical but hopeful. Dr. Hassan opened his toolbox, revealing an assortment of devices that looked almost primitive compared to the sleek technology of the collective. "We have an idea," he said. "But it is dangerous. and we will need your help to make it work. Over the next several hours, the human team explained their plan. It was audacious, perhaps even insane. They would fly a ship into the corona of the dying star, carrying a device that could generate a counter-magnetic field. If they could reach the core and activate the device at exactly the right moment, they could untwist the magnetic lines and stop the collapse. The temperatures inside the corona are over 1,000,000 degrees, Commander Dex said. No ship in the collective can withstand that heat for more than a few seconds. You are right, Dr. Okonkwo agreed. But we do not need to survive. We only need to get close enough. The implication of his words hung in the air. The human team was volunteering for a suicide mission. Why would you do this? Morn asked, genuinely confused. Calaprime is not even in your territory. These are not your people. Dr. Lin looked up from her calculations. 7 billion lives, she said simply. What does territory matter when 7 billion lives are at stake? Dr. Hassan added, on Earth, we have a saying. No one is an island. What happens to one of us happens to all of us. You are part of this galaxy, and so are we. That makes us family. The council members looked at each other in silence. The concept was foreign to them. The collective had always operated on principles of mutual benefit and strategic alliance. This kind of sacrifice, this willingness to die for strangers, was something they had never encountered. Commander Dex stood slowly, his 4 eyes fixed on the 3 humans. Your plan has less than a 2% chance of success according to our calculations. Then we better make those 2% count, Dr. Okonkwo replied. The commander was silent for a long moment. Then he did something that shocked every member of the council. He bowed to the humans, a gesture of deep respect in Valori culture. The Valori fleet will provide escort, he said. We will get you as close to the star as possible. After that, you will be on your own. One by one, the other species added their support. The Cathori offered their most advanced heat shields. The traders of the Outer Rim contributed rare metals that could strengthen the human ship's hull. Even species that had been rivals for centuries worked together, united by the courage of 3 humans who were willing to give everything for people they had never met. As the preparations began, Dr. Okonkwo stood alone in a viewing window. Looking out at Calaprime, the star was already showing signs of instability, its surface bubbling with massive solar flares that stretched millions of miles into space. Dr. Lin joined him, her tablet clutched to her chest. I have run the calculations 100 times, she said quietly. The device will work. I am sure of it. It's not the device I'm worried about, Dr. Okonkwo replied. It's getting there in one piece. I know. Dr. Lin was quiet for a moment. I sent a message to my daughter this morning. Told her I was proud of her. Dr. Okonkwo nodded. I called my wife. She told me to come home safe. I promised I would try. They stood in silence, watching the dying star burn against the darkness of space. In 3 days, they would fly into that fire. In 3 days, they would either save 7 billion lives or become ash themselves. But for now, there was work to do. The modified ship, renamed Hope by the crew, launched from the council station at dawn on the 3rd day. It was surrounded by an escort of 200 vessels from every species in the collective, a fleet unlike any seen in galactic history. Commander Dex himself led the formation, his massive warship cutting through space like a blade. Inside Hope, the 3 humans worked in focused silence. Dr. Lin monitored the star's magnetic field, making constant adjustments to their trajectory. Dr. Hassan checked the stabilization device for the 100th time, ensuring every connection was perfect. Dr. Okonkwo flew the ship, his hands steady on the controls, despite the sweat forming on his brow. Entering the outer corona in 30 seconds, Dr. Lin announced. Temperature rising, 500,000 degrees and climbing. The escort fleet peeled away one by one as the heat became too intense. The Valori ships were the last to go. their shields glowing white-hot before Commander Dex finally gave the order to retreat. "Hope, this is Fleet Command." Dex's voice crackled over the radio. "You are entering the point of no return. May the stars guide your path." "Thank you, Commander," Dr. Okonkwo replied. "Watch our back. We'll be out before you know it." He did not believe his own words, and he suspected Dex did not either. But it was what needed to be said. The ship plunged into the corona. The view screen turned white, overloaded by the intensity of the light. Alarms screamed as the hull temperature soared past anything the sensors were designed to measure. The heat shields, reinforced with every technology the collective could offer, began to glow red, then orange, then a brilliant yellow. "All integrity at 60%, Dr. Hassan reported, his voice calm despite the chaos around him. 58, 55. How much longer?" Dr. Okonkwo asked, fighting to keep the ship on course against the violent solar winds. 4 minutes to optimal deployment depth, Dr. Lin replied. "The magnetic convergence point is just ahead. 4 minutes. An eternity when you were burning alive." The ship shuddered as a massive solar flare erupted nearby, sending a wave of superheated plasma crashing against the hull. Warning lights flashed across every panel. The air inside the cabin grew hot, despite the life support working at maximum capacity. "Hull integrity at 32%, Dr. Hassan said. "We are losing sections of the outer hull. The heat shields are failing." Dr. Okonkwo did not respond. He was focused entirely on flying, threading the ship through gaps in the plasma streams like a needle through fire. His hands moved with a precision born from decades of experience, making 100 small adjustments every second. Behind him, Dr. Lin suddenly gasped. "I see it. The magnetic convergence point. It is right there, about 2 kilometers ahead. Hull at 20%, Dr. Hassan warned. 17. Deploying the device, Dr. Lin said, her fingers flying across her tablet. The ship's cargo bay opened, releasing the stabilization device into the heart of the star. It was a simple thing, really. A cylinder of exotic metals surrounding a quantum core that could generate magnetic fields powerful enough to move planets. The device fell into the convergence point and activated. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the star screamed. Not in sound, of course, but in light. The twisted magnetic field lines began to unravel, releasing energy that had been building for weeks. A shock wave of pure force expanded outward from the core, traveling at a fraction of light speed. "It is working!" Dr. Lin shouted. "The collapse is reversing. The star is stabilizing. And that shock wave is going to hit us in about 10 seconds, Dr. Okonkwo said. "Hold on to something." The wave struck Hope like a hammer. The ship tumbled end over end, spinning wildly through the superheated plasma. Systems failed one after another. The lights flickered and died. Emergency backup kicked in, bathing the cabin in a dim red glow. "Hull integrity at 8%, Dr. Hassan said, blood running from a cut on his forehead. "We need to get out of here. Now." Dr. Okonkwo fought with the controls, somehow managing to stabilize the ship and point it toward the surface. Or at least, toward what his instruments said was the surface. In the blinding chaos of the corona, it was impossible to see anything. "Come on, old girl," he whispered to the ship. "One more trip." "Just one more," Hope responded. The engines, somehow still functioning, pushed the battered vessel upward. The temperature began to drop. The plasma streams thinned. The blinding white of the corona slowly faded to orange, then red, then finally to the black of open space. They emerged from the star like a phoenix from the flames, their ship a smoking wreck that was barely holding together. The escort fleet surrounded them immediately, tractor beams catching Hope before it could drift away. "Hope, this is Fleet Command." Commander Dex's voice came through the static. "Please respond. Are you alive in there?" Dr. Okonkwo pressed the transmit button with shaking hands. "This is Hope. We are alive." a little crispy around the edges, but alive. The radio erupted with cheering from dozens of ships. On worlds across the sector, billions of people looked up at their sky and saw their sun. Still burning, but steady now. Stable. Safe. The celebrations lasted for weeks. The human team was honored by every species in the collective. Statues were built. Songs were written. Children learned their names in school. But for Dr. Okonkwo, Dr. Lin, and Dr. Hassan, the greatest reward came in a small ceremony held quietly on the council station. Commander Dex stood before him, his warrior's pride replaced by something softer, something almost humble. "I have led armies across the galaxy," he said. "I have conquered worlds and defeated empires, but I have never seen courage like yours. You flew into a dying star not for glory, not for reward, but because you could not stand by while others suffered." He reached out and clasped Dr. Okonkwo's hand in the Valori gesture of brotherhood. "I was wrong about your species," Dex continued. "I thought you were children, too young and foolish to understand the ways of the galaxy. But I see now that it is we who have much to learn. Your humanity is not a weakness. It is your greatest strength." High Priest Valen stepped forward, his ancient eyes bright with tears. "In all our sacred texts, we speak of beings who would give their lives for others. We called them gods. Now I know they were simply human." Dr. Okonkwo looked at his colleagues, then back at the gathered council. "We are not special," he said. "Any human would have done what we did. It is who we are. We see suffering, and we try to help. We see impossible odds, and we find a way. Not because we are brave, but because we cannot imagine doing anything else." Dr. Lin added, "On our world, we have faced many disasters, earthquakes, floods, diseases. Each time, we learned that survival depends on working together. We carry that lesson with us wherever we go. And now," Dr. Hassan said with a tired smile, "we would like to go home. My family is waiting, and I promise to be there for my daughter's birthday." The council laughed, a sound of genuine warmth that echoed through the chamber. As the three humans turned to leave, Commander Dex called out one last time, "Humans, what should we call this day? The day you saved 7 billion lives?" Dr. Okonkwo paused at the door. He thought about it for a moment, then smiled. "Just call it Tuesday," he said. "Because for us, this is just what we do." And with that, the three heroes walked out of the council chamber, back to their small ship, and home to a world that would never know how close the galaxy had come to disaster. But across 1,000 worlds, in languages that humans would never speak, stories would be told of the day Earth scientists looked at a dying star and refused to let it burn out. In the end, it was not weapons or wealth that saved the collective. It was not ancient wisdom or advanced technology. It was something far simpler and far more powerful. It was humanity.